is breaking news on WDSU.
And that breaking news that we're bringing to you right now, a major update in the recall effort. We can confirm that the Orleans Parish Register of Voters has completed the certification process for the LaToya Cantrell recall petitions. In layman's terms, that means they are done counting here in New Orleans, and this, what you're looking at right now, is exclusive video. Those signatures were sent to Baton Rouge. They arrived at the Capitol to the governor's office about 15 minutes ago on the 4th floor. Let me start with what we know and then what we don't know. What we know is that the Orleans Parish Register of Voters confirms the counting is done here in New Orleans. This is video of all of the petitions being sent to the governor's office. Under law, he has 15 days now to verify the count and call a special election if needed. What we don't know, the big question, how many verified signatures there are. The Orleans Register not saying that at this time. Neither is the governor. We are hoping to get an answer to that later today. WDSU's Morgan Lentis in Baton Rouge right now, the only reporter from New Orleans there. Morgan, walk us through exactly what went down today, about 15 minutes ago at the Capitol, a big development in this recall effort.
A huge development, Travers, and really it was something that was pretty quick. We were upstairs on the 4th floor, as you just mentioned, in the governor's office, awaiting those boxes of signatures to arrive. Basically, the elevator door opened and two gurneys, or however you would like to describe that, came out. They had about 4 boxes on each. They were very large. We were able to get a little bit of video of them, and then they were wheeled around the corner where the governor, as you mentioned, now has 15 days to decide what will happen next. A lot of people wanting to know, did the recall organizers reach that threshold of 44,900 signatures? And right now, we don't know the answer. As you just mentioned, we've been working our sources trying to find out. I did call the attorney who is representing the Registrar of Voters office there in Orleans Parish, and he told me it is not our job to release that number. He says the Registrar of Voters office counts those signatures, and that it is then on the governor's office to announce if a special election will be called. Now, the governor's office saying they're not prepared to make some sort of announcement. Again, they do have 15 days. They did tell us, though, a spokesperson for the governor, that they received a letter from the Registrar of Voters office. They are now reviewing that and told us that hopefully at some point today they will have more information for us. I did ask the attorney representing the Registrar of Voters office, do you know about that letter? What is in that letter? Are the exact number of certified signatures included in it? And he said he did not know. He would have to check in with Sandra Wilson, who is the Registrar of Voters, to see if she could give him more information. So again, Travers, a lot of us waiting, but at least we know that those signatures have been counted. And just one other bit of information I'll give you, when I spoke to the attorney representing the Registrar of Voters office, he did tell me that counting was finished sometime on Monday and that the signatures were counted twice.
No, Morgan, a lot of interesting developments here. I think in layman's terms, everybody just wants to know, did they hit the magic number of 44,900 verified signatures to trigger a recall election? We are hoping to get an answer to that. Obviously, I know that you've been checking with people up there and we've been checking with people here. A lot of people say there is a process to this. This is the next step in the process. The Orleans Parish Registrar of Voters has now, just like you said, in their statement, they say they didn't just count them once, they counted them twice, and they have now sent them to the governor's office. Just to recap, the governor now has 15 days to either call a special election if the threshold was hit, and if it doesn't, obviously it appears this matter goes away pending any litigation. But bottom line, I think everybody is hoping that someone, Morgan, whether it be the governor or the Registrar of Voters, releases the number and lets people know, the public know, is there such an interest in this, if they hit that threshold or not.
Absolutely. I think that's what we're all waiting for. And I think the big point to make here, Travers, is that the number is known. The counting is done. So whether they got to 44,900 or not is known by at least someone. Now it's just up to all of us to wait and see who is going to be the one to deliver that news. Again, the Registrar of Voters office seeming to, punt that, say that this is on the governor's office to confirm and to announce. And, by all indications this morning when we were with the governor's office, they, as those boxes came off the elevator, they didn't look at a piece of paper and say, oh, yes, they reached it, or, oh, nope, they fell short. So again, this has been a long, drawn out process. It looks like we're going to have to wait just a little bit longer, maybe by the end of today, maybe not. Again, it's really that 15-day period that they have, but I imagine, at least the feeling that I got being here today, is that maybe we'll know before that. So it remains to be seen.
Yeah, Morgan, stand by. We're going to have another question for you in a second, but let's just get to a statement we have from the Orleans Parish Register of Voters. This was sent just to WDSU. It's from the lawyer, Ryan Lumine, who is with a well-known firm, Sher Garner. It reads, the Orleans Parish Register of Voters has completed its certification of the recall petition of the mayor of New Orleans. The Register has transported the original signed and dated recall petition from New Orleans to the state capitol in Baton Rouge. The Registrar arrived at the Capitol around 9:15 a.m. A representative from the governor's office will now receive and secure the recall petition documents, which include the original signatures on the recall petition. The Secretary of State compliance officers have escorted the Registrar and her staff to the Capitol for safe and secure delivery. Every document received from the organizers has been reviewed and, as Morgan just said, certified twice. So obviously this is the next step, Morgan, and I know there's a lot of chatter out there. This is a big topic that people want to know about. They want to know, did they meet the threshold or not? And we keep coming back to this. If they met the threshold, the governor then has 15 days to issue a proclamation to call a special election. If they didn't reach the threshold, in essence, the recall effort dies except for any pending litigation, which is outside the scope of what you're covering there at the Capitol.
Well, that's right, Travis. And I think one thing that, wherever you fall on this issue, right, obviously this has been a campaign that has divided a lot of people in the city. I think people should at least be able to rest easy that, they're doing this the right way, right? It's not like anyone's rushing to make a quick announcement, right? The governor's office telling us when they received that letter from the Registrar of Voters office, which came in with the boxes, we need to take a little bit of time to look at this. And so I think at least that should give people some sense of relief that this process is working the way that it is supposed to, and that hopefully, once they finally make that announcement, it's not a bell that they then can't unring, right? So again, we are here at the Capitol. We will, of course, keep you posted. The spokesperson for the governor's office telling us they hope to, follow up with us before too long to give us, the accurate information they can. And one other thing I did want to let you know, Travis, just as people have been looking at that video we showed you that WDSU was able to, obtain exclusively, you might be looking at those boxes and, there could be people out there trying to say, oh, well, there's this many boxes, that must mean a certain number of signatures or, anything like that. I was told by the attorney representing the Registrar of Voters office that they turned over every signature that was collected during this recall campaign. So that means the votes that were verified and counted, and also the signatures, that maybe did not count, that were not verified. So people should also keep that in mind. I was told that they gave over every signature collected, whether or not those were counted, verified, and will go toward that goal of 44,900 signatures needed to trigger that special election to potentially oust Mayor LaToya Cantrell.
Yeah, because, Morgan, let's just be honest. There's going to be a lot of questions for the Registrar of Voters. People are going to want to know, not just the public, us in the media, how did you count the ballots? How did you certify the ballots? Which ones did you kick out? What process did you use? What people did you use? Those are things that we're going to hopefully get answers for today or in coming days. But if you could talk about this, and I know you spoke to the governor's spokesperson, and so did I, this is really uncharted territory. No one has really gotten this far. So is it safe to say they are proceeding with caution and they're trying to make sure that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, because they want to be right and they want to be accurate and they want to go through the process, because nobody's ever gotten this far where they've turned over a box that big with that many signatures to the governor for essentially certification of a recall?
And I mean, that was kind of the mood as we awaited the arrival of those boxes of signatures. Even folks in the governor's office saying, this is uncharted territory for us. Certainly, as you mentioned, this is really the first time an effort like this, certainly with a position as important as the mayor of the city of New Orleans, has gotten to this point. And so I think that for everyone, as you mentioned, I go back to the old saying, you can't unring that bell once you say they either met the threshold or they didn't. And so they are being careful. And I think all of us, who live and work in the city of New Orleans should be happy that they are doing that, right? Because this is something that will have major consequences whichever way it goes. And so again, the governor's office really going to take their time, taking those, signatures back into their offices, and also that letter to review it before they come out and give us any sort of information. And you also mentioned there has been a little bit of back and forth because, as we were arriving here today, the governor's office made it clear that they were not prepared to just come out immediately and say, we are going to call a special election, or no, they didn't reach the threshold. And also I pressed the lawyer for the Registrar of Voters office and said this is a public office. This is, there to serve the people of Orleans Parish. Why not say the number? You all obviously have tabulated it at this point by bringing it here to the Capitol. And he pushed back a little bit and said, no, state law states that, the Registrar of Voters office counts, and that the governor's office is then responsible for announcing. So again, a little bit of back and forth there. But the point being, they've been counted. The signatures have been counted, and we're now waiting to see what happens next.
Yeah, and all we're waiting to see, Morgan, is the threshold hit or not? Hopefully we find out today. Great job getting that exclusive video that you're watching right here on WDSU of all of those petitions arriving at the state capitol in Baton Rouge. We will have extended coverage today coming up at noon, 4, 5, and 6. But once again, just to recap, the recall petitions have now been counted, and they are in Baton Rouge. The only thing left to determine at this point was the threshold of 44,900 met or not. We hope to get that answer later today. Morgan will be live in Baton Rouge, and we will have crews on this big development all throughout today on WDSU.com and in all of our newscasts. Until then, we return you to regularly scheduled programming.